just when you thought it was safe to go onto iTunes. This is Next Level Guy, the only website that makes self-development as fun as going to the movies. It's time to take the red pill and escape the Matrix.
What's happening, guys? It's time for another episode of the Next Level Guy Show podcast with your favourite tutor, Ian Dawson-Mackay. Next Level Guy is your favourite men's interview, interest and improvement website, where I quiz the experts to find out the hacks, tips, methods and protocols that you can implement in your own life to take it to the next level and live happier, healthier, wealthier, sexier and so much more. Today I'm speaking to Red Bull cliff diver, former Cirque du Soleil star and proud mother of three, Lysanne Richard. Lysanne does some amazing and breathtaking dives and regularly lands on the podium despite living a very busy life, so I had to get her on the show and find out what her secrets were. In this interview, we discuss cliff diving, overcoming fear and anxiety, how to learn extremely complicated dives, and so much more. Lysanne is full of energy and blows away a lot of the excuses you may have had of why you can't transform your life right now. Listen to Lysanne and see how you could soon dive off the cliff of excuses and get the perfect 10 life of your dreams. And no, I won't apologise for that pun. Now let's get to the interview. So thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule. But for those people who maybe don't know who you are and maybe don't recognise the name, can you just give a quick introduction about who you are and why you're well known?
Yes. First of all, thank you to guest me here. I'm really happy being part of this. And yeah, my name is Lysanne Richard. I'm a Canadian high diver. I'm also a mom of three, and I was a circus artist before. And now for the last few years, I'm really focused into high diving. I won gold often on the international with the FINA World Cup and Red Bull cliff diving, and lots of podiums. So I had great success in those last year in high diving, and I just want to keep improve and keep doing the sport that I like.
Yeah, I mean, you've had quite an unusual career. Now, we get a lot of women who say, "Oh, I could never do that." And I think it's really unfair that like a lot of girls are taught, that they should be mothers, they should be married and stuff like that. And it's really disrespectful that they're not allowed to kind of like promoted and told to go for their gold, their dreams and that. So how did you get into high diving? How did you get into like the Cirque du Soleil? Because these are kind of like career paths that people might be interested as kids, but they kind of they fall away from. So how did you get into that as a kid?
Actually, I started diving by accident because my parents wanted to put me into a swimming class, and there were no place in my age group, so they just put me in diving instead. And finally, I fell in love with the sport, and I kind of never stopped diving. Then when I was young, I saw a high diving show, and I really had the feeling that I knew I'm gonna do it later. It was a goal, but it was also an evidence for me. Then I really wanted to do this, but at one point I stopped diving, and I wanted to do more circus. So I focused on preparing myself for the audition for National Circus School in Montreal, which is a really great circus school. Then after this, I got the place at school, and it was a really hardworking formation. But at the end of the school, I got hired by Cirque du Soleil. And at one point, I was really proud about what I accomplished in circus, and I felt that I needed a new challenge. Then it's there that came back to my mind that I really wanted to be a high diver. So I started to train again for diving, and I got the chance to join the competition. And what's about this sport now is really interesting because the sport is developing so much. And for the women, we have more and more women involved into it, and we're pushing the limit and bringing the sport to a higher level. And my feeling about sometimes there is stuff that we would like to do, but we do not really take the chance to doing it. I think the main point is really being focused on what do you need to do, what do you want to do to be happy in your life. And if it is really this, you have to find a way to make it possible. It's not simple for sure. Working at Cirque du Soleil was awesome, but also a lot of job and complicate to challenge with the family, like being a high diver. But this is really what I want to do. And as a mom, which is really important for me, I think the main priority for me to being a good mom is to be happy about my life. And I really enjoy that my kid can know if you want something, this is possible. Nothing is impossible. You just have to work hard and stay focused and have a well balanced life and be positive, and everything is possible. So I really enjoy having the possibility of being a great model for my kid. And I really enjoy all the help that I receive, because this is really teamwork to be able to do this. My husband really nice and helped me a lot for with the kid and the family and the travel that are involved, and my parents taking care of the kid too. So, and all my coach, like there's so much people that help me into my project. But I feel that people are interested to help me because I really know what I want to do. So this is kind of contagious because we all want this together, and this is a teamwork, and as a team we succeed.
That's a brilliant answer. I love how, you mentioned there about being a role model for your children, how you talked about, to be the best like parent for your child, you have to be happy in your own life. And I think we sometimes forget that for people who have children, we think that we have to provide for them 100% and forget about our own lives. And sometimes that's the worst thing. If we're not happy, we are not our true selves for our children. So were you always quite an adventurous child? Did you, what were you like as a kid? Did you quite like going in and climbing the trees and going out and swimming in the ponds and stuff like that? Or were you kind of, like, how did you kind of get into this as a kid? Was there something that kind of you liked about the diving, about the circus stuff? Did you maybe go to a circus as a kid, or it just is.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh
sorry.
no, sorry.
Yes.
I mean, what was the kind of defining moment? Can you remember a time that you thought that's what I want to do? Because it's such an unusual sport to get into.
Yeah, it's really when I saw the high diving show in an attraction park that I realized I really wanted to do this. And for circus, it's really when I saw a Cirque du Soleil show. But it was all inside of me, because being a kid, I was always building some show and wanted my parents to always look at the show, and all their friends, like we really organized doing shows. And also I was really a tomboy and brave, and I always wanted to play with the guy and do some gutsy thing that needed courage. And so the superhero side of high diving was really calling me. We kind of play like we are superhero and we can fly, and this was really part of my character since I was a kid. My mom was always scared because I was always climbing and doing dangerous stuff, but it was really inside of me, and I already like knew myself and knew how to do. But yeah, at the beginning they were afraid, my parents, but at one point they realized, okay, she's like this.
No, you do some amazing things. Some of the highlight footage I've seen of you is it's mind boggling. Just the twists and the turns, the degree of like difficulty that you can put into your dives, and it's just looking down from the top is scary. But to actually think you're competing against other world class athletes, you're diving off a cliff into like natural water. What do you think about when you're on top of that diving platform? Do you get nervous still, or have you got a mantra or a way of kind of like overcoming fear?
Actually, yes, there is always some fear because we have to respect that fear. This is a dangerous sport that we are doing, so I let space for the fear. Like when I arrive at the competition place for the first time, I always go on the platform and I'm not ready to dive. I just take the time to let the fear go, and like I'll take the visual and getting more comfortable. Then after, when I come back on the platform and I'm ready to dive, there is no place for fear anymore. This is just the well preparation and the concentration, but there's a lot of visualization and there's a long process that can bring me to be concentrate without be interrupted by my fear. But yeah, there's always, we need this fear. I love this fear. This is also a part of the sport that I'm in love with, because I like to fight against the fear and be stronger than the fear. So there's a link with the attachment with the sport.
No, I love the way that you look at the fear as not something to be scared of and to stop you doing things. It kind of motivates you and drives you through. So, I mean, do you get that every single time you're on a platform? Do you look forward to that now? Is that the kind of moment that you know that you kind of switch into your performer side of you? You know, you move away from the mother side, you move into the, you feel the fear and you think, right, I'm just going to go and do it. And that gets you into the high diving style version of yourself.
Yeah, there's really like the key is confidence to do well in high diving. So when you're there right before to do your dive, you have to be more confident than afraid. So it's all linked with the mental preparation. We have some little routine before and some keyword. So I know what I have to think about. So my mind is already busy with something really planned. So there's no place to be interrupted by the fear. But for sure, for the harder dive, there is more stress or an excitation going on. And for the new dives, this is really the hard part in high diving, when you have to learn a new dive because you don't know exactly how it's going to be before doing it. At one point with the dive that we already know, we can kind of put ourselves in a comfort zone, because by visualization we can really recognize what we're going to see, how it's going to be, how we're going to feel. But when you start a new dive, you have a good idea, but it's never exactly the same thing as doing it for real. So first time we do a new dive is really more challenging.
Because some of the dives that you do are just mind blowing. You know, you rotate, you twist, you back, like, you know, there's different levels of somersaults and rotations and stuff like that. So, can you go into a little bit about how you would train for something like that? You know, you mentioned there about doing a new dive, for example. So, if you have a competition coming up and your coach said to you, okay, we're going to try this new dive, how would you go about planning it? You know, is it something that you can do in a couple of weeks? Do you go to like the gymnastics like area and work on that, jumping into pads or stuff like that? Or do you, how would you go about implementing a new dive into your skill? Because you do some phenomenal things, but how do you learn, such amazing feats?
Yeah, it's true that the sport is so much improving that even the hard dive that I am doing won't be the hardest anymore this year. So I really have to work hard and bring up something new if I still want to be in the top level high diver in the world. I can never sit on what I did before, because we progress so fast. All the girls progress so fast that I have to work hard for sure. But learning a new dive, if it is a easy dive, like a basic dive, it can be really fast. As soon as you have it on your mind, you do a couple of exercise on 5 meters, 7 meter platform. Then if you see it well, you can go. I work on a new dive for the first competition of the year. Now I'm gonna try it for the first time after tomorrow. But I'm not that much stressed about this dive, because this is physically easy dive, so I know everything gonna be all right and I can learn it fast. But for the new optional dive, when we spin more, we twist more, this is years of work to be able to making it, because we first have to be able to do every step on the lower platform level. And for me, my diving background is not really big, like I did diving as a kid after I stopped for 20 years before to start again for high diving. So I really need to work on my regular diving for the educative be ready before to go up, because my mind is already ready for that big dive since 3 years. There's a dive I want to do since 3 years, but my body do not do everything that I would like to be able to do it safely. So we always have to wait. I have to work on, for sure, the visualization, but that part is ready. But I also have to be stronger, jump higher. So there's a lot of gym work, physical prep work. And after, I need a more efficient twisting technique. So there's a lot of we do twisting belt on dry land in diving, and we do also a lot of educative on the other platform. Then when everything gonna be ready, I will finally do that dive. But it's a long process. Already 3 years yet, and I won't do it at the beginning of this year. But it's so important to be safe and that everything's almost perfect before we decide to go up for a new dive, that I rather take my time, and it's going to be more safe when I'm going to be ready to do it, and it's going to be already good after not that much repetition, because all the repetitions going to be done with every step. So I have to be patient. At one point it's going to arrive, but also, I do not have 20 years old anymore, so this is also harder to gain in strength, in jumping. Everything is a little more work for me now because I'm close to 40 than when I was close to 20. So I have to be more patient about this too for my progression.
Well, you certainly do not dive like somebody that's losing their touch. You look fantastic. When I watch you, it's like you're doing this just at ease. There's no struggle, and it's amazing to think that you've spent 3 years working on a dive, and you break it down into its individual components, and you build it up at the different levels. And you mentioned there about visualization. How big a part of that is thinking this out in your head and seeing the dive and things like that. Do you do things like meditation? Do you work on like just sitting thinking about the dive and practicing it in your head, when you're maybe doing the dishes, or when you're maybe driving to and from training? How do you add visualization training into your typical training week?
Yeah, actually, I do some meditation since 2 years, and it really helped me to be more efficient in everything, actually, because I'm really more into the mindfulness and the present moment. So even in my diving, each dive, I feel that I have a bigger capacity to improve the dive, because
Mhm.
I'm more focused. And it also helped my visualization that is really effective. Like for me, it can take only 3 seconds to do a dive in my head. So I can do at any moment in the day, like when I do some stretching, I can do my visualization. If I just take a break and rest a little, I can do my visualization. So it's really often in the day. I do not have an exactly time that I always making it, except in competition. But in my regular life is really often. So it's part of my routine. As soon as I find a little time, I'm doing it.
I love how you use you know, the dive can be that quick that you can sit and make it into your daily routine. That you've done it so many times in your head that when you come to the platform, you can just smash the dive. You can be amazing because you've done it. You can just do it. So, what goes through your mind when you dive? Do you sit and think about, like, oh, I need to pull my shoulder in here, I need to twist here? Or are you just using muscle memory and you just go for it? Do you even have a chance to think in that kind of time?
Yes, actually, that's really interesting, because since I'm more calm, I feel a kind of a slow motion in the air. It's like I really can be aware of every little detail in the dive, so I have more time to think. But also, we really have to decide on what we focus, because it's still fast. It's only 3 seconds. And there is something that we do not have to think about because it's always right. So we really have to think about our main challenge in the dive. There's a part that I always think about the takeoff, and this is a keyword for my takeoff, and it changed. It changed depending of the dives that I do, and it's also changed depending of what are we working on, because sometime for a year I had one keyword, and now it's really recorded into myself so I can switch to another. And I have also a keyword for the middle of the dive and a keyword for the end of the dive. So there's only three things to think about. But really, in the air, I realize that I have time to think about it and to react. And in the air, the main thing, except those keywords, is really the visual. For us, we really have to be aware about what we see, because it helps us to be sure to be on the feet and completely vertical. And it's also help us to be safe, because in high diving there is no really possibility of big mistake. We really need to be on the feet completely vertical if we do not want to hurt. So as it's more slow motion for me now, there's a longer time that I can see the water at the end of the dive. So it really helped me to be more consistent in the quality of my entrance in the water.
And could you tell us what like a keyword that you would use, or are these kind of sort of personal things that you want to keep to yourself?
No, I could say it. I'm gonna do with one of my basic dive, one of the two easiest that I compete, because we have to do two easy dive and two harder. So for the basic dive, by example, double with a half twist. My first keyword is just the letter T, because if I think the letter T, I know what it means. It means some action, like the head has to stay straight and the arm make a T. Then after, I think about over. I just say over in my head because it helped me to get a better pike. If I think about over, I go over my leg instead of grab it right away, so the pike is more close. Then after, I say flex, because I think about the position of my feet right before to enter in the water. So it's really like weird if somebody else wouldn't understand, but for me, this is what I have to say to well understand myself.
That is amazing, because when I watch your videos, I think how it's like 3 seconds. It just flies, and it's like, how do you even like remember to add that twist and that somersault? And it's you make it look so graceful and so beautiful, and it's so technical. It's really hard for somebody who's not done that kind of thing to understand, to overcome the fear and to even just have the capacity to think of these thoughts in their head and go T, over. By the time I even thought about what my word was, I probably already finished the dive. So has this always been like this for you, or do you need to just do it over and over to get to that scene where you slow it down and you can actually think it in super slow motion, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think it's really with the experience, my brain start to be in another mode when I dive, because I still can feel the slow motion even in some dives that I didn't do that much often. But for sure, more we do, more is easy for the visualization, and the slow motion is kind of longer with dive that we did really often. But this is also like a mindset that we can use for something new. And even if when we look at it, it look really complicated, the solution is really to think it really simple. It's we only need to focus on few things and it can make it work. If we think about too much thing, we're gonna be lost. It's really to be aware and to be well prepared and confident and keep it simple.
I love how your outlook on it. It's so refreshing to see like that, how you break it down, how you look at the mental aspect of it as well as the physical, how you've set up different things to overcome the what most people would perceive as the thing that would stop them doing it, like the fear, try to remember it all. And it's great to see the systems that you put in place. And how you've built in kind of rituals and routines that have really helped you. So, can you think of a small change that you've made to your training that has given you the biggest improvement? Has it been working with a particular coach, or implementing strength training or kettlebells or something? Has there been a little thing that you've done that's given you a big change or a big improvement in your performance?
Yeah, actually, there's a lot. I think the secret to make it really well is to have a lot of little improvement. I work with a mental, physical preparation specialist, so it really helped me. But I also work with an acupuncturist, so my body is always fresh. I do not keep like little thing that could become an injury. We always right away put it away, so the body is always ready, and the more rest, because acupuncture has so much benefit for the health, so it helped me so much also. And the communication with my coach, it's been a couple of years that I'm working with him now, and we just keep improving our communication because we know more each other. So he really know what to tell me that helped me doing it well. And also we start to have a system, because he's not in competition with me, and sometimes I was feeling lost, like everything I've trained, I'm not sure I remember it well when he wasn't there. But we do some Skype appointment when I'm on competition. We still talk, and I film the dive and I send him, and we talk about the dive together, so it gives me also more confidence. So there's really a lot of things in my life that I try to organize better to be able to benefit as much as possible as the chance that I have doing high diving. I'm so lucky doing it, and I want to make it well. And it's by thinking every little detail that it's become a complete portrait. And at this point, when everything's in place, there is the possibility to do well and feel better and keep improving.
Just want to have a quick break here to remind you about the affiliate deals and special offers that I currently have. If you want to go and find out more, please go to www.nextlevelguy.com/affiliates. That's www.nextlevelguy.com/affiliates. I've set up some awesome deals with some amazing companies. There's so many special offers there, listener exclusive deals, discount codes, and so much more. There's companies like Under Armour, Blinkist, there's companies like Gainsbox, Geeky Sex Toys. There's something there for everybody. It doesn't matter what you're into, what you need. There's a special offer and there's a discount code there for you. Mankind, for example, does amazing grooming products. There's Me Andes, there's Mr. Skin if you're wanting to get a bit more XXX there. There's Onnit.com, Real Social Dynamics. There's a Fantasy Box company. There's a Protein Works. Really, there is something there for everybody. It can be a gift, it can be something for you. You can treat somebody in your life or treat yourself. All I get in return is a small commission from the company you purchase from. This doesn't affect the price you pay. I get no data on the sales, and all I do is put the money back into making this the best product I can. So again, if you want to find out more and abuse my discount codes, listener special offers, etc., go to www.nextlevelguy.com/affiliates. And now, enough waffle from me. Let's get you back to the interview. So say you have a competition coming up, maybe in, like, say, 3 months or something. How would you set up a training schedule? Do you work with a coach all the time leading up to it, or do you just have to, does he give you a plan and you go away and train on your own and you chat here and there? Like, how do you work with your coach on a typical kind of training program? Like, do you go to the gym yourself and practice and then go to the pool yourself, or is it a bit more of a training camp? Or how are these things set up?
There's a lot of, actually, we need really a good capacity of adaptation, because schedules are still sometimes complicated, because my physical prep coach work with a lot of athletes, and he has some trip with other teams, so he's not always there. My diving coach either, because he's the main coach of the diving club here, so he has some trouble with other athletes also. Like every specialist with who I work are not available all the time, and even I with the kids, there is some time that we really privilege the time with the kids, like the spring break or other thing like this. So we have to put the schedule of everybody together and try to make it fit. But for sure, when I do not have my coach, I keep training, but I have my homework. We think about the homework before they go. Like this, even if they are not there, I can keep working. And yeah, but like the plan has to be really adjustable. It's really one of my main challenge because being a mom, there's so much thing that we didn't predict that can happen. So I take it day by day. I do my best every day, and at one point I gonna be ready because there's no chance. Like if you do everything you can, everything gonna go well. But it's hard for me to predict long term because my main challenge is to adapt with the day by day situation. But because of this, it put me really more into the mindfulness and present moment and make me benefit more each of my training. So at one point we are ready. But it's true, some athletes really plan in advance if they have a stable coach, stable team. But in my situation, there's a lot of movement and I benefit from it. It's really good that I'm good to adapt to different situations.
No, that's great. It's I love that that you work around a problem. That you're fluid, that you move things, and you kind of actually enjoy the change and how different things are going to be. That because that you have to fit things through. I mean, I was going to ask, like, how does becoming a mom and like marriage and things like that a normal life? How do you work around that in your training schedule? Because you do so much, and it's amazing to see the success you've had. But how do you fit your normal life around, and like looking after the kids and all the other stuff that you do around your training? What kind of tips would you give to somebody who's in a kind of similar environment and they're wanting to, go off and train and do stuff like that? Like, what have you found that works for you to kind of juggle both sides of that life?
One of the things that really work well for me is to always start the day well with the kids. Like every morning, we walk till school with the. I have the sleigh behind me, and they can be on the sleigh or walk, and we go by the botanic garden, so we are in the nature, and we walk like still a lot for kids. It's 3K that I make them walk, and we talk, and we have fun, and we see the sun. So everything start well. Then after they are at the kindergarten and at school, and at this point I can start to focus on my thing. But when I'm with them, I focus on them. Like this, after I feel okay, I had a great moment with them, and now I can think about me, about what I have to do. Then after I go for training, I really try to put all my training during the day, during the week, to do as much as possible while they are at school. But it's true that sometimes I have some work or conference, or I work for the TV show here, or so sometimes I have stuff in the evening or during the weekend, but it's not every time. So if this is an exception, it's all right. But I try to do not put too much in the evening, to be with them in the evening also. But it's true that's really a challenge to put everything I have to do in a week in that week. But being efficient in what we do and really concentrate on one thing at the time, making it possible. Before I was more stressed and less effective because I was thinking about too much thing in the same time. And now I'm really more in the mindfulness of the moment, and I feel that it's really the good recipe for me, and also for the time with my kids. We really enjoy it more because when we are together, we are really together, and it helps us. And I feel that the kid has good day at school because I make them move before to go, and yeah, this is great for everybody. And also, even if I have a lot of thing to do about my work or something, I really try to get a good night of sleep because it helped me. Even if I have less time on my day, the next day gonna be more efficient. So it's a priority for me now, also the sleeping part.
No, it's well, that's obviously a very important thing to a lot of people. I love the way that you looked at that. You know, it was you spent time with your children, you got centered. You know, you built the experiences. Then you got moving. You taught them about like the health and to walk and you know get used to nature, and it kind of calmed you. Then you know you've got the blocks of time once they're at school for what you want to do and how you need to do things, and then you set very strict training times and family time. You know, I think that's sometimes the problem a lot of people have is they try to juggle both, so they're not fully centered, if that makes sense. You know, they're not with their kids mentally when they're there physically. They're maybe thinking about something else they need to do. Whereas I like how you've set it up that when you're with the kids, you're very, very strictly with the kids. You know, you're having the experiences, you're building memories with them. And then when you're training, you're training. You know, and you're juggling the things in between, but you make the kids a priority, and I love to see that. So, how do you incorporate everything into your week? You know, when you're doing this, do you literally think, okay, on Monday I'm going to go to the gym, Tuesday I'm going to go and the pool, or is it literally a case of just whenever you can fit it in?
It's whatever, it's whenever I can fit in, but it's always planned. Like I always take a time at the end of the week to all plan about the week that is coming. So like this, I'm sure that I use every part of time that is available. And I all organize. Sometimes I have to do some reservation for the pool or for the coach, or so it's really have I have to take a lot of time to organize my time. Also for the kid, if I need a babysitter when I'm gone, or the time that I organize thing, I think it's really long, but it helps everything to go well in place when we need, and to be less anxious, and to know that everything gonna work well. So there's really a thing about organization for sure. More we have to think and to do, the more we are organized, and the better it is.
I love, you know, how you kind of blow that out the water. You know, some people will say, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't go to the gym because I have kids. I can't do X because, you know, I've now got to look after the kids." And they let their own health go. They stop going to the gym because they're spending more time at home and stuff like that. And I love how, you know, you're teaching your kids the joys of being out in nature, about asking questions, about going out and walking, you know, and building that healthy habit. And it's lovely to see, and it also shows that, you know, life doesn't stop just because you become a mother. That you, as long as you know, can put in the systems and the procedures and the rituals to make sure all the normal life is taken care of, you can do amazing things. And, you know, the success you've had is amazing, you know, and you just go from strength to strength. I mean, how did you find that initially? Did you find any struggles juggling being a mom? And, you know, did it ever make you want to stop and just become a mom full time? Or, you know, is a passion for training still strong all these years?
Actually, it's true that sometimes we are more tired than we would feel like. It could be great to have like just the time of enjoying being a mom, but it's also really great to keep improving stuff about myself, because I think it's also education. Education is not uh, only what we say, it's always what we are and what they can see about us. So I think it's important that I stay focused onto my dream and that I work hard. But yeah, for sure, there's a lot of challenge. The main challenge was really when I quit Cirque du Soleil for doing high diving. It was really a financially big challenge, because I do less money than when I was on show with Cirque du Soleil for now. But for my family, it's still better because I have more time with them, and we travel less because we travel for years, and we felt that we needed to be more grounded in one place. and I keep traveling, but for a shorter trip. So for the family part, have switched with high diving is better, and for me too, because I'm really passionate about it. But for now, there is still a financial challenge because high diving is not an Olympic sport yet. So we do not have like the National Sport Federation support, like Sport Canada is giving help to athletes in Olympic program. But because our sport is not, I do not have this chance. And also, there is still not a lot of sponsors involved into high diving for women. So this is more a challenge for now for the women than for the men to be in high diving. Financially it's more challenge, and also it's a little harder because this is not stable amount of money and fixed amount that arrives. So if we try to do a budget, it's really sometimes more scary. So because of this, I have to take a lot of other job as an autonomous worker. But everything else that I do, I still love it too. I do some conference, I do the TV show, I write some article, I do some publicity. Like everything I do, I really like it. But if I could do little less to have more time to focus on my training and my family, it would be easier. So for now, there is still that challenge, but it's gonna change. I really hope to get more sponsors, and I really hope the sport to become an Olympic sport. So I think it's a challenging part of it for now, but it's worth it for everything that we see happening into the sport, and just for the satisfaction of doing this. Yeah, it's worth it. Actually, finally, money is only some. It's mathematic, you know. I'm happy in my life. I have good time with my kids. I feel that I do something that can really motivate people and have a good influence on people. So that's a way more important than money.
I love that. Yeah, I love your outlook on life. It's so refreshing to see that you're doing it for the pure joy of it. Obviously, if you got better paid, it would be helpful. But I mean, how do you feel about that? You know, because you see diving in the Olympics and things like that. But why do you think your version of diving hasn't been made into an Olympic sport yet? You know, do you think it will in the next wee while, or do you think there's challenges to bring like cliff diving into like more of a national sport?
I really think it's gonna be soon in the Olympic, because if we look at the new sport that we have in the Winter Olympic, all the new sports are really more extreme, and this is what the crowd want to see. Like the crowds really like high diving as much as they like the new Olympic sport in the winter. So I really think it would be a good fit with the crowd, and for the Olympic they have to think about this also, what's going to bring more spectators and be more popular. I really think when high diving going to be part of it, it's going to be a hit. It's going to be really good. But we still have to keep building the sport. For now, we do not have enough enough country represent in the woman category. We need a little more country, so we need more women from other places that are coming. And yeah, this is still a new sport with the FINA and all this organization. So step by step we're gonna make it. I just hope it's gonna be soon enough that I'm there to doing it.
Well, I mean, it's such a graceful and amazing sport to watch. You know, it's exhilarating. It's one of these sports that I would love to see in the Olympics, because, to see the best in the world and the people getting the money to support them to actually focus just on their training rather than having to do additional work. I mean, there is some amazing risk factors there. When we look at what you're doing, it's phenomenal that you can do such twists and turns without getting seriously injured. But I mean, you've had some injuries in the past, and you had a neck injury quite recently. So how do you recover from that? How do you come back from an injury and make sure that your diving's back to up to standard, that you're not worried, that you come back stronger and more focused? How did you recover from your injury?
I think the first thing about the injury is really to take our time. Like, we always feel that we have to go back really fast, like we missed it and we wouldn't like to take a break for a while. But really, the secret of uh, my healing is that we did really step by step. It's true that it was something really important. I couldn't go even if I wanted to go, so I had to listen myself, my body, and I had to be well surrounded. Like, I saw a physiotherapist, osteopath, acupuncturist, and like I really had to have a good team around me, and I had to keep working even if I couldn't do diving. I did a lot of rehab, I did a lot of visualization, I did a lot of physical prep for the part of the body that I could, to be sure that I do not lose every capacity that I have, only the one that I cannot work on. Okay, we take a break, but we keep bring and keep improving some addition. That when I came back, my visualization was really more solid than when I stopped. So even if my body was not totally back yet, I was more consistent already when I start to train, because I was really more prepared and more focused. So this is already a big advantage. And also, we have to really readapt the way that we work, because knowing that, okay, this part of my body is more sensitive, so I cannot put too much work on it. So there is some exercise and physical prep that I do not do anymore. I have to find other exercise instead, and I have to think differently about high diving. I cannot do as much high diving as before, but I still can do as much diving as before. So I have to compensate, do more diving instead of high diving, and being really focused on quality and high diving instead of quantity. So, but I think it's all a mindset. And when we are grounded, we do not need to do 40 dive. Like, if we do one and it's already good, that's okay.
No.
So I just had to change the way I think and I prepare, and the way that I see the sport, and everything still can fit. We all have a different recipe that's going to make it work for us, and I had to change mine, but two different recipe can be good enough. So I have my new recipe now, and I think this is the good one for me.
I love that. I love how you kind of thought, well, I'm injured, so I need to work on what I can. You didn't give up. You thought, okay, I'll focus on B, C, D rather than A and F. And then you went there and you worked on the stuff that you could work on. And I love how you kind of just take everything in your stride. You're very fluid with things. You kind of go, okay, this has happened. This is how I'm going to come out of it. And I think that's why you do so well. It's you're not just stuck on a training program, that you just take life as it comes. You enjoy being in the moment. And I think that's something a lot of us need to do more of, is be in the moment and, just adapt to things and just go with the flow and kind of just let it play itself out, and you go for quality over quantity. Once you've got the kind of plan in your head, you want to make sure it's perfect, but you don't want to overplay it. You don't want to push it too far. So how do you train? Do you go and, like, do you ever jump into, like, the kind of places that you're going to be competing from? Or are you always just doing it in the pool and, like, the training gymnastics area? Do you ever go and jump off cliffs, at all? Or, like, how do you mimic that in a training environment?
Yeah, I would like to go more on cliffs, but it can be dangerous if we do not have the right staff like we have in
Mm-hmm.
competition. And like in the nature, this is more complicated because you do not exactly know how
Yeah.
deep you have in the water, and if everything is safe. So I really more train in safe environment, so it's really more like regular diving. But when I arrive in competition, For Red Bull cliff diving competition, we have only one training day. So you really have to have your plan already, know what you need to do, and be really efficient on it, because there's only one day, and after it's right away the competition. But if you did the good preparation in the pool with all the different steps you needed to do, one day will be enough. Like, it's all right because you already ready. So everything's supposed to be all right. That day is only to fix little thing like the visual, which is different than in training, and the feeling, the temperature, like, to all put together in one day is possible if you are mind that it's going to be all right. It's going to be possible. If you're thinking, oh no, one day is not enough, it won't work. You have to be really focused on the positive part of it. It is enough. I'm well prepared, and it worked.
It's crazy to think, that you get one day, and it's, that's maybe the first time you've dived in that location. Because, like, in our heads, we think, oh, you must have done this heaps of times, but like, I do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and we practice drills so that when you're competing, you then remember, you do it automatically. And I think that's the similar sort of thing that you're doing, because you've done it in the pool, because you've done it in the gym, you know that you're then able to do that when it comes to competition. So how does a competition work? Do you go and submit the dives that you're going to do beforehand, or can you change things? Do you pick what you want to do leading up to the competition, and then they judge you on that, or do they judge you on the dive that you're actually doing in that moment? How are these competitions set up?
Actually, the main judge is looking at the training, have the practicing day, and also if you want to try a new dive, everybody, like the main judge and the scuba diver, everybody has to be aware because there's a bigger part of risk if it is something new, and they know, so they look at it, and the main judge approve if this dive is safe enough to compete it or no. So he has the final decision. This is not the diver that decides. This is really the main judge for the new dives. And the main judge look at the training, and at the end we filled our diving sheet. So there's our number of dive. It's each dive has a number on it to describe the dive, and the main judge say, okay, so the day before the competition we have to already have decide which dive we're going to compete, but the judge can say, no, this is not safe enough, you're going to do something else. So you have to be prepared. If you think you have something not safe, you have to have a B plan just to be sure.
I mean, it's amazing to see the care and the amazing kind of things that you do, but I love the way it's set up. It's got the diving team, it's got the competitors, it's got massive crowds. It's there is the fan base there, but what's it like with the other competitors? Are you competing against one another? I mean, I've seen the camaraderie, the how much you get on and you push each other. Is it always like that, or is there a sense of you're competing against one another, or are you competing against yourself to be better than you were in your last dive? How is it set up in your opinion?
This is one of the things I really enjoy the most about this sport. We are really proud of each other, and we are really like a friendly community. Uh, we all work together for the sport to progress. So when somebody is getting better than you, it's mean that, like, she's progressing, and I'm proud of her because she's gonna make the sport progress too. And people are proud when I win. People are proud and happy for me when another diver win. I'm proud and happy for her. It's really, there's really the good sport spirit in this sport. One of the main thing about it, I think, it's because if it don't go well, it's dangerous. Somebody can really injure badly. So we never hope that somebody don't do well. We always hope that everybody succeed, and if everybody do their best, but the real best going to be on the podium. But it's not that much about the ranking and our own success. It's really about the group success and what all of us doing for the sport. And we really well understand the challenge that the other athletes are living, because this is a challenging sport. So we are really more comprehensive about the other than against. So, and yeah, like in everything that we do, the goal is to be better than we were and better than us. So if we are satisfied about a competition or not is not depending on the other. It's really depending of what we can have a power on. So my objective when I go in competition are not based about position. They are based about things that I have the control on. And if I do everything I wanted to do but I don't win, I still gonna be proud of myself more than if I did mistake in what I wanted and I win. It's really about it's really the a sport way, and we work on things we can improve. And yeah, I'm really proud being part of this sport and feeling the camaraderie and people really cheering for each other. And we need this, when you are on the platform and it's stressful, and you really like that people cheering for you. So for sure you're gonna cheer for other too, because they did cheering for you. So they give, we give, they give. It's all together. We help each other.
I love that aspect about it. When you watch your videos, you see the enthusiasm, how excited you each are for one another, and how you push each other, and there's the hugs and the pure emotion. It's like everybody's so happy for one another that you're just all enjoying the sport. You're all enjoying being in that moment and competing, but you're all competing against one another. And I love seeing that, and I love seeing how you pushed each other, and how you were so you liked you were so happy for one another. And it's rare to see that in a sport, and that's what I think people like about it so much, is that you're all driving each other, trying to see what you're capable of doing, and it's a beautiful sport to watch. So you mentioned earlier about that there's not the money that's there at the moment, but what would you be looking for? Like, say you could appeal to a business listening just now, what would you want them to, like, companies to think about and support you? How, what would them giving money to help you build your brand, build, like, a training structure and things like that? Like, what are you looking for in terms of sponsors and things like that?
For sure, this sport is really followed and seen and has a lot of people and media exposure. So, for sure, a brand that decide to associate with an athlete get a lot of visibility worldwide. So there's a large advantage for the brand to go with the company. And for myself, if I go with a company and I decide that we work together, I want to be, I want to share the same valeur. I don't know in English. Value? No, not value. Like the thing that are important for you. The same. Uh, I want to share the same vision
Mm-hmm.
as them, and I want to be involved with the company. Also, I like to meet the people, give conference for the worker, and I would like to be a positive influence for all the brand, and also giving them the visibility with the competition and with other involvement with them. And for me, it's sure that it will help me working a little less, so being more focused on my training, so maybe have even better result. And it will help me also. I would dream about have a company that would help me bring in my kids on competition and my family, because they look at it on TV, but they cannot see me real, because it's so expensive to travel. So for now, they do not come with me. So it would be nice having them with me also. And for sure, uh, building more structure for training, because on a regular day we train on 10 meters. Sometimes I'm really lucky, I get access to a 17-meter at the Olympic pool, but we would like to put a 20-meter to have the same height as in competition, but we need to have some money to can do this project. Also, I would like to build an outside training center on the cliff and have the staff to be sure that this is deep enough and all the safety stuff for me, but also to bring other people from Canada to become high diver, because for now I'm the only Canadian in those competitions. So I would like to have the support to be able to help to have more people in the sport. And we also have a setup at an outside pool that I work with the pool, that we put a platform at 20 meters during the summer. This is really great. But the platform is really small and the ladder too. So if we would have more budget, we could put something bigger and more interesting for people to come train in. So there's a lot we could do with money for sure. For now, we do everything we can, and I really promote the sport, and I feel that I'm an active part of the progression of the sport. But with more resource, we could do more, and I would be willing to do more for sure.
No, I love the passion. You know, you can feel the intensity when you talk about it, and you have some amazing plans and how you want to help the sport grow and make it become part of the Olympics and things like that. It's really great to listen to you, because I was smiling the whole way through that, because just listening to how much the sport means to you and how you want to help others and the community that it's building, and you love like giving back and helping out and being a sort of ambassador for like the future generations. It's lovely to hear. So you are an ambassador of a number of causes, and you do motivational speaking. How has that sort of changed you as a person? How does like going and speaking and in front of these companies and stuff like that, what have you learned about yourself and life by doing these kind of talks?
At the beginning, when I start to doing this, somebody asked me to do, and I really did it because I wanted uh, to do it for them because they asked, and I was honored. But I was also stressed because I wasn't thinking I could be good to doing it. But after once, I really realized I love it. I really like it because I love the people. So this is another way to meet people, and this is a chance to inspire people. I can share my story and my vision, and they can take part of it and really want to have new goals. And there's a lot of good comments that I have after, and sometimes people write to me with my Facebook page and say, "Hey, I did this because of you." Like, this is really a chance to have like the power to give power to others. This is really sharing for the other to do stuff and be able to share with people. Like, this is all a positive chain that I'm in. So it's really really great. And also, I was missing doing some shows because like the competition are kind of shows but less big, like less artistic than Cirque du Soleil shows. So when I start to do my conference, I put also the artistic part of me in, and I have fun with it. This is my own show. I play character in, and there's a lot of surprise, a lot of laugh. We really have a good moment together with the people. We share a good moment. So yeah, for me, this is really a good opportunity, and this is a way also to giving back to other. And this is really good to feel that I have a positive influence on people. I'm honored that the thing that I do in my life interests people as much as they hire me to come and talk about. And they even like more my sport, and they they like more my personality when I can really talk with them. And this is all positive. This is really a good thing that happened to my life to get the chance to do this.
No, I mean, I love the way that like you can feel the passion, and it's great to actually get a chance to for these kind of places to actually learn about what goes through your mind, how somebody that trains, because we often see it on TV, but we don't always understand what goes on behind it. We only see the dive. We don't see the training, the juggling of like life and training requirements. We don't see the hours of work that you put in at the gym. We don't see the stuff that you do with your kids, the travel and stuff like that, because we only see that 3 or 4 seconds of the dive. So it's great to actually learn more about it and see what you have to put into it to make yourself successful. And you should be extremely proud of yourself, because you're juggling stuff that most people stop doing anything, because when they become a mother, they say, oh, I don't have time to train. And then you're showcasing that it's possible. You're building a brand. Your mother. You do some amazing things with some charities. You do some amazing motivational speaking. You're looking to bring on the future generations and stuff like that. And it's amazing what you're doing. You should be super proud of yourself. And I think this is why there should be money in this sport, because of people like yourself. You're a great ambassador for it. So would you be happy then if your kids decided to go into this, or would you want them to do something else?
This is a good question. I think for sure it would be great because I'm in love with that sport. But for now with the education, we really try that they try a lot of different sports. Like they change of sport every session. We try something new because I really want to give them a large amount of different sport that they know what is it and they know how it feel, and they learn to learn also. I want that they are not afraid to learn new stuff and to change and to see all the capacity. And this is really good for their self to develop different ability. And after, when they're gonna have tried lots, they're gonna know what they want to focus on, and it's just gonna be better for them for their progression to have done a lot of other stuff. So for now, the main priority is moving. We move as much as possible. We do sport and activity and family, and we make them learn different sports. And after, they're going to decide what they want to do. But for sure, if later they want to decide high diving, I would be happy. But I'm going to be also really careful and want them to take their time, because I know this is dangerous, but I'm going to be sure they do every step and they take their time and it's done safely. So it would be great. Yeah, my teenager, he did circus already with me. He worked with Cirque du Soleil. We were doing some shows together, and it was a great experience. And it was really nice because we were together in the same show. It was amazing. And yeah, if I could dive later with my kids, would be awesome. But the main point is not what I want to do and what I like. It's what they want to do, what they like, what they enjoy the most. If it's something that I even do not know, great, I'm gonna learn it with them, and it's gonna be something new in our lives too. The main point is just discover, move, be healthy, be happy.
No, I mean, I just wish there was more people that thought like that. That you just kind of gave them the keys to learn about life, and just the focus was on them. I think some parents try to relive their life through their kids. They try to they try to make them do stuff that they wish they had done and live their life through them. And it's really refreshing to see how you're kind of, you won't force them into it. You don't want them to keep the legacy or anything like that, but you're more interested in facilitating them to go off and be happy and give them the tools to find out what they want from life. And it's fantastic to see. So we've been talking for over an hour now, and it really does feel like 5 minutes. You were worried about your English, and I think you're really clear. I can understand everything you say. Do you think everybody should learn a second language? Because you speak, is it French Canadian originally?
Yes, I think it's really important, and I would like to talk more. When I was in circus, I've learned Spanish and Russian, not really well, but still enough to communicate. And it was like it's so great to have the capacity to communicate with different people. We are all human and we all have stuff to share, and this is great to have the chance to do with as much people as possible. Also, when I travel, I have the chance to travel to so much different place, and I really want to be able to say hello, how are you, thank you very much. It's important for me to try to learn at least the minimum to be polite and to show that I'm interested about them. I have the chance to go visit them. So yes, I think at least a second language is really important because it gives you a way more option. But if we can learn even more, it's really a good opportunity. My kids learned better than me the Spanish and the Russian when we were on tour, and it was amazing to see them communicate with the other kids and the artists, and I was really proud of them. So I think communication is something really important for human, So as much as we can share with other, if we have more language to doing it, we can do it more. So this is really nice.
So, what do you think you've learned more? Like, from learning a second language, they say that it changes the brain to learn a second language because you have to change the way it's set up, to have two different languages. So it actually makes you more like people who have a second language are usually more intelligent. The way that their brain, I'm trying to think the exact reasoning for it, but basically, usually people who have more than one language are smarter than people who don't. So do you think that's helped your diving, this kind of understanding of the different languages? Does it help you learn things a lot easier than compared to anybody else?
I think for sure, learning English really helped my high diving because this is an English world. Like all the athletes talk in English, like almost nobody speak in French, and the coach also, and the terminology in high diving is really in English. So of course this part helped me directly, but also the capacity of adaptation that we need to learn a new language. We also need a capacity of adaptation in sport, and in high diving this is mainly about this because we change so much, different place, different weather, different height, even for the competition. This is between 20 to 23 meters, so it always change. So as much as you're good into develop new capacity and adapt to new situation, you're gonna perform better. So for sure, a new language is a good adaptation. So it goes together, I think.
I love that. Well, I've got a couple of last few questions now. What do you want everybody listening to take from this? Because I hope it's changed people's opinions about things, but what would you want them to take as the sort of go home message? What do you want people to remember from this interview?
But first of all, I would like to remember, and you too, that I'm thankful for this interview. Really, it's nice. It was a good moment. It was nice to share with you, and I'm glad and I'm thankful for the people that took the time to listen it. And one of the things that has changed my mind is really to realize that like everything is possible. You have to know what you want, but when you know what you want, just make it happen. There's a way that it can happen. You just have to find, you have to have some tool, you have to have some helper, but it is possible. So don't think that it's not possible or too complicated or that you're not able. Everybody is really able of doing what make him happy and what his goal and aspiration. Just have to be focused on it and give give us the chance. Go for it.
I love that. I mean, it's fantastic to see. And I wish you were like a much more well-known star because people would get such a kick out of learning more about you, and you motivate and you inspire so many people. And I think it's a shame that there isn't more money put towards this. So I really hope it does become a more mainstream sport soon because people like you deserve this. You deserve the chance to succeed and to push yourself and get the training facilities and things like that. But my second last question is always my favorite one. Is there an unusual fact about you that that people are really surprised to hear? Now, you've lived an amazing life. You've done Cirque du Soleil, you do high diving, which are unusual in themselves. But is there something about you or a fact about you that really surprises people when they hear it?
Oh, I don't know. Um, that's a good question. Uh, I really not have. I don't have an idea right now. If I think about something, I would tell you. But yeah, I don't know.
It's one of those things that you suddenly think of, like you'll be walking like to school or something, maybe in a week's time.
And I can say, oh, yeah, I should have said this.
It's strange because I can't think of myself. Like I have some things which you don't know yourself that they're interesting because it's about you. Do you know what I mean? It's like you because it's your life. You don't think, no one will be interested. But when you say it, people are like, wow, I didn't realize that. And I love sort of hearing these kind of things. I mean, I really cannot thank you enough for doing this. It's been really like I love learning about new sports and meeting new people and doing things. And I really hope you've kind of shone a light on like how amazing the sport is, how amazing you are for doing what you do, for being a mom, but doing Cirque du Soleil plus doing high diving and doing some amazing things, things that people only dream about. You're showing it's possible, and it's brilliant. So my last question is, if somebody wants to keep in touch, if a company wants to get in touch about booking you or promoting you, how can we find out more information? How do we follow you on social media? How do we get in touch and see your future projects?
Yeah, first of all, everybody is really welcome to get in touch with me, even if it's only for a question or to say, hey, I listened the interview. Like, I'm always super happy to have people communicate with me. There is my Instagram account. This is Lysanne, uh, just a little bar down, and Richard. So you can find me there. There is my athlete Facebook page also on my name. There is my website. On my website, you have the link to my social media or to my email. So my website is www.lysannerichard.com. So yeah, everybody is welcome to communicate with me. And if there's somebody from a brand or a company that would like that we work something together, it will be a pleasure. You just have to write me. And yeah, it would be perfect.
Well, I really cannot thank you enough. I'd love to have you on again at some point. We can look at learning new skills, and we can go so many different avenues. But I just wanted to get the first one to get people to know you, because you're doing a fantastic thing. You do some amazing dives. You're building a brand. You're building a great community there, and I really like to showcase what you do. And I think you'll have won over a heap of new fans, and I really hope that you get the funding that you deserve, and that you can take it from there. I'm really grateful for you taking the time, and I'm so glad to have you on.
Thank you. It was really a honor. It was a nice moment, and I thank you for your work, your good preparation, and yeah, I'm really. I feel privileged being part of it.
And do you have any competitions coming up? Where can we see you dive next?
Yes, the first Red Bull cliff diving competition of the season is in the Philippines, 13 and 14 of April. So it's going to be live on Red Bull TV, and also all the social media of Red Bull and my social media. We're going to put some update about this. And not so long after, we go in Ireland in May, and we have 9 competitions this year, 7 with Red Bull cliff diving and 2 with the FINA. So it's going to be a big and challenging year, but amazing location, and it's really great to have that much competition. It shows a sign of progression for the sport either. So people are welcome to follow and write to me and cheering for me and for the other divers. It will be perfect if they follow the sport.
Well, I can't wish you anything but success. I really want to see you go from strength to strength, and I think you're going to do amazing.
Thank you very much.
That's it for another week. Thanks for listening. Absorb it, practice it, use it. Until next time, keep trying to hit that next level in your life.